Hello, and welcome to Anime Audio Commentary. Today I'll be commenting on episode 10 of My Dress Up Darling Season 2. If you'd like to watch along, then start watching now. Alright, so last we left off, it was established that due to inclement weather and the trains not running, Gojo's staying over with Marin. So they prepared for this, and, due to an unfortunate turn of phrase, Gojo remarked that he doesn't intend to fall asleep tonight, purely because falling asleep and staying over would be crossing a line to him, but Marin has, interpreted this in an entirely different way that carries expectations. And now that Gojo's asking her, aren't you gonna take a bath? Whoa, buddy. I mean, he's saying it out of politeness. It's you bathe at night and all that. So, aren't you gonna do that? Don't want to disrupt your routine or anything, but, it's really only gonna make things worse. Because even now, Marin's ruminating on it, thinking, considering, over and over again, we're getting that line, I don't intend to sleep tonight. And it's bad when you have to consider what sort of underwear you're gonna wear. I mean, on the one hand, the effort is nice. On the other hand, I feel like it's kind of, excessive, I guess. Because really, when you get down to it, I don't think Gojo, or really anyone, would be put off by the underwear, I mean, if you've got time to complain about the underwear, I feel like you have your priorities misaligned. So the bigger things that are going on is that they're learning about this game in anticipation of cosplaying. I don't know how much of the game they're gonna get through, especially because of this new tension. Ooh. Okay, so that's a neat little callback to an earlier episode, Marin sort of mistakenly prepared Gojo for this. I mean, in actual fact, he has nothing in mind of the sort, but Marin doesn't know that. I guess this whole situation is sort of building up to a big misunderstanding, and, normally misunderstandings are kind of, not always great, but I think that's mainly because that's how they're written. This isn't a one-off thing where someone missed a little bit of context. This is a genuine mismatch in expectations versus reality. So, despite expecting something, Marin is bound to be disappointed. Especially if, she is sort of looking forward to things, as it were. Oh dear. Man, this is really getting built up, isn't it? Gojo sort of being stone-faced is saying like, hey, why are you sitting all the way over there? And, the idea is that like, why don't you be more friendly? Like, you can sit over here if you want, but it doesn't help that his demeanor is far more, neutral than before. Even Marin picks up on it, like, what's going on here? He's got an entirely different aura, as she put it. And, that is true. Like, I guess he is kind of agitated about staying the night over, and, like, he's sort of come to terms with what's going on and devised a workaround solution here. Now, that said, I feel like even if what Marin thought was going on was going to happen, then maybe playing a horror game isn't the appropriate thing to set the mood, And I guess Marin also has a good point that, like, if they're skipping to, the last step, as it were, it's kind of unfortunate that all the previous steps have been ignored. I mean, it isn't the case, but I feel like something like that, Marin might consider that maybe something else is going on here. Like, I suppose it's kind of unreasonable to say, like, oh yeah, it's totally on your fault for misinterpreting things. But, I don't know. I feel like at some point you just kind of have to, like, ask yourself, what's really going on here? I mean, having fallen and hit her head like she did, I don't think it's any big mystery why Gojo would be concerned, but, I suppose it, doesn't help. Oh. Alright, well. Huh. So just asking, like, look, I'm kind of in a pinch, can I eat something first? I mean, fair enough, I guess. Reasonable request. But if I were in Gojo's seat, I'd be wondering, like, what do you mean by that? Like, before we keep playing the game, or what? She's alluding to being nervous, and, eating helps her relax, and it's important to relax and all that, but, I don't know. Like, I guess it just sort of strikes me as, Gojo being, like, kind of uncurious about this whole thing, because, like, he's definitely kind of acting a bit unusual, but Marin's also acting unusual, and I feel like, maybe it would do to be a little bit curious about things. I mean, I guess, he's also kind of uncomfortable about this whole situation, so maybe he doesn't want to poke his nose in too far. So I guess that's nice, a little heartwarming vignette about Marin and, I guess, her dietary habits. So I guess that's another thing, the diet is still in effect here, more or less, it hasn't been resolved, her being kind of fat, like, and even then, that's a gross exaggeration, but, I don't know, I reckon we should probably touch on that at some point, because I feel like she didn't have that much weight to lose. Ooh. So, Marin's going to bed. Meanwhile, Gojo's just playing the game, and now it's starting to get unsettling. Ooh. Alright, now it's getting real unsettling. It's messing with the save files and all that stuff. Ooh. I can't go back, says Gojo. How, interesting. Oh. Wow, it seems like the nuns might be eating, something a little less wholesome than they might, normally eat. Oh dear. So again, I would just like to sort of praise the pixel art here, just because I mean, it seems like a genuine effort and dedication to, getting it right went into this. And to a degree, I do have to thank the animation studio and praise them, but I feel like the author's doing the real heavy lifting here, because this is something like the 6th or 7th instance of there being some in-universe fiction that is rather captivating, because this game isn't exactly my cup of tea. I'm not a horror enjoyer, nor am I much for visual novels really, but there is something kind of grossly captivating about it. And I guess this is sort of evidenced by Gojo clearly being unnerved about everything. Okay, so morning, I guess. Gojo probably stayed up the entire night, or at the very least fell asleep on the couch. The question is, what now? Because, nothing happened. Marin prepared for nothing. And it's, it's not like she prepared extensively or anything. It was more of an ad hoc arrangement, but, man. So I feel like Gojo, at the very least, could probably claim, the game was so unnerving that I didn't want to do anything. Ah, okay. So I guess Marin truly didn't realize they were energy drinks. Oh dear indeed. So, I guess I was considering a wee bit more of an explosive reaction to this misunderstanding, but I guess things have been kind of resolved simply. Although, unfortunately, with the subject matter of the game in regards to eating, Gojo's not got much of an appetite right now. And frankly, I feel like if I, spent the whole night playing a game that seemed to involve cannibalism, I feel like I would be a little sick to my stomach, too. Ooh. Okay, so it's one of those, insane person hallucinates everything kind of games. Huh. I guess that does kind of check out, saying, I don't want to remember and scrubbing the save files and all that. I mean, nevertheless, it is kind of creepy, especially if that's not what you're expecting going into something. I'm kind of reminded of the film Shutter Island, almost. The idea that once you learn the twist, the entirety of the film takes on a new sort of meaning. Man, poor Gojo's kind of suffering with this. I can't say I blame him. I avoid horror games and a lot of horror films for this very same reason. I just don't like spooky stuff. Man. So I guess Gojo's just gonna have to deal with all this stuff. There was mention of a scene they were going to be doing, and it makes me wonder if they're gonna simulate, bloody human flesh that they're eating. It's that's just kind of gross, even for cosplay, I don't know. On the one hand, I can get it for, the shock value of it, but on the other hand, I feel like if you want to simulate it with any degree of realism, it's gotta feel pretty gross, too, So now with the sisters, it seems as though Shinju's sort of accommodating her elder sister, just because Juju is kind of a prickly person. She doesn't really want to interact with all the others, so despite sort of being wrangled into this, she is doing her best, and in response her sister's like, look, I'll try and make this as easy on you as possible. It's nice, especially because I guess, like, Juju really had to be wrangled into doing this. Ooh. So back to Marin. I guess, this isn't an explosive reaction, but rather, she's just kind of suffering in private here. Her line of reasoning wasn't too bad. Like, nice, white, innocent looking. I mean, I reckon, Gojo would have appreciated that, but, I'm a little surprised that she's so broken up about this. Especially when it seemed to be a big deal to her that this was sort of skipping a bunch of the steps. I feel like... I don't know. I guess just looking at this rationally, I understand disappointment in the moment, but thinking about it, it might be kind of a relief that you can do all that other stuff. All the dating and the simple stuff first. Like, I don't know. I guess I'm just trying to look at this glass half empty. Or, half full, rather. So, Marin's got, I guess, an issue to overcome here. Because, like, they're going to be doing the cosplay shoot. She's clearly in a kind of funk, so the question is, how is she going to get out of it? And, is she going to be able to act normally around Gojo? Because, like, I don't know. Like, she's clearly not composed about the situation. Now, I'm not sure the soundtrack here is quite fitting. Yeah, alright, she's definitely suffering over this whole thing. Man, even though Gojo didn't necessarily do anything wrong, I feel like, talking to the poor guy is probably the only way to fix things, Like, I feel like maybe explain to him, it's like, look, I thought you were going to, and, you didn't do that, you were playing horror games, so, like, well, I don't know, like, I don't know where you would take the conversation from there, maybe like, hey, let's go get coffee or something like that, let's work our way up to, not going to sleep tonight. Yeah, I don't know. It's a problem, because I feel like just sort of talking to Gojo and coming out with this, like, just saying it in plain terms is going to be a bit much. I feel like, I don't know, you just kind of gotta, like, dance around the topic a little bit. Although, despite everything, Gojo's taken, her statement of craving fried food to heart, and he's, preparing something. So, I feel like, despite the disappointment of everything that's going on, like, this is something you can smile at, right? So, I feel like the moral of the story here is that, like, sometimes you just gotta take baby steps, You can't go 0 to 60. Sometimes you have to eat some fried fish, I guess it's nice that Marin's like, look, I'll eat the fish. Yeah, I'm on a diet. Yes, it is fried and probably not good for a diet, but you went to the trouble to make it, so I'll eat it. And I guess for what it's worth, it looked like it turned out pretty good. Not that I'm much of a seafood enjoyer. Wow. Despite, like, his, primary calling, I guess, being, related to tailoring, like, it certainly seems like he's quite a good cook. I guess in spite of that, Marin just can't help but, like, zone out and kinda suffer in silence. So, I get the feeling we're probably not gonna resolve things right away. would probably be best if we had like an episode to simmer on this, but... Well, I take that back. Marin's asking Gojo to walk her to the station, so... I don't know. She may or may not air things out to him, but... I guess if nothing else, they're spending time together, which is something she'd kind of been wanting. The idea was that he sort of like ditched her once before, and then, the previous night's incident. Oh dear. So is she just gonna, like, lay out the whole thing? Because I feel like that's, slightly inadvisable. Oh dear. The poor guy has, like, a dopey grin on his face. He doesn't know what's about to hit him. Well, I take that back. Nothing hit him after all. She's just asking, like, oh, can I come over again tomorrow? I mean, the answer, of course, is yes. I don't see why he would turn her away, but unfortunately, this doesn't really address any of the issues. I mean, I guess, hopefully, Marin will just sort of, like, come to terms with it on her own. I feel like in the grand scheme of things, it's just something that happens where, like, it sucks at the time, but then you can kind of laugh about it later, just because it was all a silly misunderstanding. Alright, so yeah, Baron is suffering decidedly, I guess. Reflecting that normally she just goes with the flow with things, but that's not the case right now, so, that's how things are really unprecedented. Oh dear. Okay, well, never mind. Crisis averted. Like, a couple guys are coming up to hit on her, but, yeah, I guess she's in no mood for that, so... Well, there we have it. I guess, it's good nothing came of that. Alright, so there's something positive. Marin recognizes her own personal weakness and despises it, so now she resolves to do something definite. Whether or not it happens, we'll see, but I'm hopeful. Alright, well that's it for this episode. If you've enjoyed it, then by all means, tune in for the next one. See you, Space Cowboy.